Now let's turn our attention to South Africa. It's the third richest country in Africa, home to more than 62 million people, and it's going to polls this year on May 29th. This year, we may see an unusual election in South Africa. After 30 years, it seems the country is ready for change. After 30 years, the ruling party may finally have exhausted its goodwill. Let me explain. South Africa was once known for apartheid, a system of legalized racial segregation. People were divided and treated differently on the basis of race. And that system ended only in 1990, largely because of Nelson Mandela and his party, the African National Congress or ANC. The first election after that, after apartheid, took place in 1994, exactly 30 years ago. And Nelson Mandela became president, the first president of post-apartheid South Africa. His party, the ANC, took over the reins of government, and it has ruled South Africa for all of the last 30 years, the same party, ANC. Mandela himself was president only for one term. He did not lead the party in the second term, the second election, which was in 1999. But Mandela was always around, lending his grace to the ANC till he passed in 2013. And even after Mandela stepped down in 1999, the ANC kept winning election after election. In fact, its seat share rose till 2004. But ever since, it's been a downward spiral. Year after year, the ANC loses supporters, and it seems this year it may not even be able to reach the halfway mark. South Africa's lower house of parliament has 400 seats. You need 201 to win an election outright. The ANC has always managed this in the past, but this time it looks tough. Look at the opinion polls. The latest one shows the ANC polling at 39%, not even 40, 39%. For the party that helped free the country from apartheid, this is a fall from grace, which begs the question, how did it come to this? There are a number of factors, economic and political. We'll start with the economy. South Africa's growth rate last year was 0.6%, 0.6. This is a BRICS country. It's supposed to be driving growth in the world, but it barely avoided a recession. Fourth quarter growth was a measly 0.1%, positive, but barely 0.1. What's worse, South Africa's economy is about the same size as it was in 2020 when the Wuhan virus pandemic hit. 4 years, and it has just recovered. Unemployment overall has crossed 30%. Youth unemployment is even higher at about 43%. And this has infuriated South African voters. Along with poor growth, there's poor infrastructure. South Africa is known for frequent power outages. And for almost 2 weeks, Johannesburg has been facing a water crisis. This, remember, is South Africa's richest city, Johannesburg, home to about 6 million people. Half of them have been facing water issues. The government pointed to an ongoing drought. It also blamed water companies, but the people of Johannesburg are fed up.
At the end of the day, we pay our taxes. Now show us what it's for. Enough of this finger pointing, enough. It's got to come to a point where there is accountability, plans of action, and follow through. That's it.
So we need water. Government should supply. Yes, we're paying for nothing, paying for air.
So there are economic issues, infrastructure issues, accountability issues. Add to this mix a magic ingredient, political intrigue. And what do you get? The perfect storm. The political alchemist may very well be an old ANC hand. Jacob Zuma, a former president who has now trained his guns on the party he once led. Zuma has left the ANC, and polls say he has taken 13% of their votes with him. Zuma was embroiled in corruption scandals. He even spent months in detention because of them. But a lot of ANC leaders have corruption charges against them. So it has not really affected Zuma's popularity. And he's using this to turn the screws on the ANC. The current president of the country, Cyril Ramaphosa, Zuma is emerging as his chief rival.
So this election is essentially between Ramaphosa and Zuma. That's what this is all about. If you look at the Ramaphosa-led ANC, and what the country has become here in South Africa, there is a serious need for change. And South Africans have realized that.
Of course, his party will talk up his chances, but Zuma does change the equation. He will take away ANC voters, and he may bring the party below the halfway mark, which means the ANC's only option might be coalition politics. They could still be ruling South Africa after May. but it will be in a severely weakened state, dependent on other parties to survive. And that would be a great fall for the party that ended apartheid. But it's also a lesson. Do not become complacent, do not become corrupt, and do your best to govern well. Reputation will only last so long. It's a lesson that parties around the world would do well to learn.